This is chapter 9.2, exercises 21 through 26. This section 9.2 in our book has to do with binomial expansion, binomial theorem, and this set is just a continuation of a couple videos that I made a little earlier. In this case, we're going to do the odd number problems 21, 23, and 25. And in this case, we have an expansion that is to the fourth power, which means that we are going to end up having 5 terms total. And what these are going to be is, or are, we're going to have a 2x. Before that, hang on, we need to have our coefficient. I'm going to leave a blank out front for our coefficient, and then we're going to have 2x to the power of 4, and then we're going to have y to the power of 0, which is going to be 1. Next, plus our coefficient out front, 2x inside parentheses to the power of 3, and we're going to have y to the first power, which is just going to end up being y, plus we have 2x squared times y squared, and then plus our coefficient, 2x, this time to the first power, y to the third power, and then plus coefficient 2x to the 0 power, which is going to be 1, y to the fourth power. And so it's a matter of finding out what our coefficients are to plug in, and then we will simplify from there and get our completed expansion. Going to the calculator, we're going to go to the NCR by, which is N choose R, probability combinations. And we have to the 5th power, and so how many are we going to have here? Well, that's going to be n is 4, but we're going to have 5 choices from 0 to 4. So let's go ahead and put that in here. We have 4 choices, comma. We're going to press Control, open parentheses, and we're going to put 0, comma, 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, and we get 1, 4, 6, 4, 1 as our coefficients. We go back to our exercise and put in our coefficients 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. And simplifying out, we are going to get, well, what's 2 to the 4th power times 1? Well, 2 to the 4th power is 16. So we're going to get 16x to the 4th power plus, we're going to have 2 to the 3rd power times 4, and 2 to the 3rd power is 8. 8 times 4 is 32, so we're going to get 32 x to the what power? X to the 3rd power, and we have y to the 1st power, which is just going to be y. Next we have plus, we look at the at this next term, we have 2 squared, which is 4, times 6 is 24, so we get 24 x squared, y squared. Our next term is going to be this x to the 1st power, which 2 to the 1st power is what? 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So we're going to get 8 x to the first power, y to the third power, and then I think our last term is just going to be 1 times 2x to the 0 power. All that's going to be 1, so we're just going to be left with our last term, y to the fourth power. And this is going to be the entirety of our binomial expansion. There we go. Problem 21. 23. Oh gosh, we got these square root things. And really a square root is it's going to be x, in this case, to the what power a square root is? X to the 1/2 power. Minus the square root of y, which is y to the 1/2 power. And then we're taking all this to the power of 6. So we're going to need a binomial expansion with 6. And for that, let's write this out, what it's going to be. I'm going to put equal sign here, equals the coefficient, which we don't know yet, times x to the 1/2 power, and that's going to be raised to the power of 6, right? And then we're going to have times y to the 1/2 power raised to the power of 0. Next we have, well, it says minus, doesn't it? I think that's going to be like negative. Let's just put this negative out front because that's going to switch your signs. Then we're going to have plus our coefficient x to the 1/2 power times 5 to the 5th power times negative y to the 1/2 power to the power of 1. Next we're going to have plus coefficient x to the 1/2 power to the power of 4, and we're going to have times negative y to the 1/2 power to the power of 2, and then we're going to have plus coefficient x to the 1/2 power raised to the power of 3 negative y to the 1/2 power raised to the power of 3. So not very legible here, but we should be able to replicate. I'm just trying to make sure we have enough room. And then on our next line, we're going to have blank for coefficient. We're going to have x to the 1/2 power to the power of 4 times negative y to the 1/2 power to the power of 2, and then plus blank for coefficient x to the 1/2 power to the power of, oh, I've got these numbers wrong, don't I? Let me fix those. I think this is supposed to be 2 and 4. Let's fix that. So that's going to be to the power of 2 to the power of 4. Okay, this was going to be x to the 1/2 power to the power of 1, and negative y to the 1/2 power to the power of 5. And then the last one is going to be coefficient. We have x to the 1/2 power to the power of 0. And then we have negative y to the 1/2 power to the power of 6. So we're going to have our n choose r, as in this case 6, and we're going to get 7 coefficients to place herein. So to do that, we go back to our menu, probability, 3, combination, and then we're going to have 6, comma, we get our bracket by pressing control, close parentheses, we'll press 0, comma, 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, comma, 5, comma. Well, I guess that's it, isn't it? Because for 6, we just 0 through 5. So let me back up here. Then we just press enter. We get 1, 6, 15, 20. That doesn't look right. Do we have 6? I should get... Something is wrong here. NCR 6, 0, 1. Oh, we should get 6 there. That's right. That last one's going to be 1, 6, 1. So that's 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. Okay, let's go ahead and put that in here. So 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. Okay, and we work that out. We're going to get, I'll put here in purple, we have 1 x to the 1/2 power raised to the power of 6. So we multiply with exponents, so 6 times 1/2 is going to be x to the 3rd power. And then we have this negative y to the 1/2 power to the power of 0 is going to be 1, so we just leave this as 1. For the next one here, we're going to get this negative y to the 1/2 power, and we're multiplying this to the power of 1, so we're still going to have a negative sign reserved out front. So we're going to have negative, and 6, the 6 will stick with this. We're going to have x to the 5/2 power, and it's going to be y to the 1/2 power. All right, y to the 1/2 power. Next one we're going to have is, this time here we're squaring the negative sign, so the next one is going to be plus. We have x to the 1/2 to the 4th power, which is going to be x squared. And we're going to get y to the 1/2 times 2, so it's going to be y to the 1st power. Next one here is, oops, I forgot something, didn't I? What did I forget? I forgot the 15, didn't I? So we get 15 x squared y. Next one here on 20, we're going to be, we have 20 x to the 3/2. Oops, and that's going to be what? Negative, isn't it? Because we're going to have to switch. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of all this. 20 x to the 3/2, y to the, we have y to the 3/2 too, right? Next one we have is we're squaring the negative sign, so the next one here is going to be plus. This is from down below, plus 15. We're going to have x to the 1/2 times 2, so that's just going to be x. And then y to the 1/2 times 4 is going to be y squared. Then we're going to subtract 6, and we're going to have x to the 1/2, y to the 5/2. That's the 5/2 power. And then our last term is going to be 1 plus 1 y to the 1/2 times 6, so it would be plus y to the third power. And this should be our expansion. With this x and y to the 1/2 power and that negative y to the 1/2 power, it creates a bit of complication, but something we can do using our standard binomial expansion. Okay, we go to 25. We get y to the negative 2 power plus 3 to the power of 5. So to do that, we're going to set up, as we have before, 6 things. First of all, we have is coefficient unknown as of yet. And then we have y to the negative 2 power to the power of what? 5. And then we have 3 to the power of 0. Next one we have is plus coefficient unknown as of yet. We're going to have y to the negative 2 power to the power of 4. And we're going to have times 3 to the power of 1. Plus coefficient, blank for coefficient. We're going to have y to the negative 2 power to the power of 3. And we're going to have times the next term there, 3 to the power of 2, plus coefficient y to the negative 2 power to the power of 2, and we're going to have times 3 to the power of 3 plus coefficient y to the negative 2 power to the power of 1, and we're going to have 3 to the power of 4, and then we're going to have plus coefficient y to the negative 2 power to the power of 0, and we're going to have 3 to the power of 5. So I kind of ran out of room on the right, but that'll be enough. We'll have enough room. So we're going to have n equals 6, and then we're going to go 0 through 5 on our n choose r. So we go here to menu, probability, combinations. We have 5, comma, and we get our bracket, and we put in 0, 0, comma, 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, comma, 5. So we're going to have 6 total coefficients, and here they are: 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. We go back and put in 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and 1. And now the simplifying, we're going to have 1 times y to the negative 2 power to the 5th, so we're going to end up with y to the 3rd power, and then we're going to have 3 to the 0 power, which is 1, and times 1. We're just going to leave that as that. The next one we're going to have is we have this 3 to the 1st power, which is 3, times 5 is going to be 15, and then we're going to have y to the power of negative 2 raised to the power of 4, so negative 2 times 4 is going to be squared. Next one here we have is 3 to the power of 2, which is 9, times 10 is 90, y to the power of negative 2 times 3. That's going to be negative 6, isn't it? I messed up the other one, didn't I? Okay, yeah. This one is messed up. This one is messed up. I gotta go ahead and retrace. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. This one right here, negative 2 times 4 is going to be y to the negative 8 power. Let's see, the next one here, negative 2 times 3 would be y to the negative 6th power. Okay, I think we're back on track. I hope some of you caught that mistake as I went forward. This next one here, we're going to have 3 to the 3rd power, which is 27, times 10. So we're going to have 270. And we're going to have y to the power of negative 2 times 2, which would be negative 4th power. And then next one here we have is 3 to the 4th power, which is 81, times 5. So 81 times 5 is going to be, that's going to be 5. And then 8 times 5 is going to be 40, right? So I think we get 405. So we get 405 y to the power of negative 2 times 1 is going to be negative 2. And then we're going to have this last one here, which is going to be 3 to the power of 5. Well, 3 to the power of 5, okay, 3 to the power of 4 is 8. 3 to the power of 5, I think, is 243, isn't it? Because 81 times 3. So plus 243, and we have negative 2 to the power of, so this is going to be just 1 here. So plus 243, so this should be the extent and the completion of this binomial expansion. With the negative, with y to the negative 2 power, it made the thing a little bit weird, but we could do it just by persisting and staying with our rules. Good luck, and thank you for viewing.